Aloha!
Aloha!
My name is Kristara Lakshmi-Detten.
And I'm Michael Ditton.
And we are Infinite.
Activation.
Coming to you from
Southern California, San Diego.
And today we would like to take you to a journey, 4 steps to optimization. And this is so crucial. Whenever in your life you need to actually, do a little re-evaluation of your life and, holistically look at many areas of your life, what needs to change. And I just come with one example in my life recently. I have been doing Facebook Lives for 2 years and it has been fun. I've learned so much and got also many clients and many things happening through that. But I also felt that this format or this way doesn't really work anymore. So I started to ask questions like how and what can I do different. So the idea came, I can do it maybe very seldom, just like that as I did, but the rest of the time I move it into my membership Facebook groups or other places where it's also more focused on people who are really there, who are really paying attention, and then I can also create more like a two-way street. And as I started to do that, what happened was everything started to change because people also were maybe taking my presence on Facebook for granted. So now I'm less there. So they want to, if they really like what I'm saying, they try to find different avenues. Like, I want to work with Crystal, what can I do? So, and then it will happen in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel also better because now I'm also getting more back and I have more like two-way communication.
Yeah.
So do you have an example you want to share?
No, not right at the moment, but that's part the first step is getting clarity of something.
Mm-hmm.
So
clear overview, what needs to change, what needs to optimize, what doesn't work the old way.
Yeah, and that's the point is if something's not working or you want something to work better, you need to first get clarity on what that is.
Yeah. So you can actually use our abundance wheel and take it as like a map, go through, okay, how are my things in my sexuality sector, my relationships, my health, my life mission, and my abundance. So what do I need to optimize? So if you want to have holistic abundance and holistic happiness in your life, this is the way to go, because if you just optimize in one section and don't optimize in others, it's not gonna really work.
Yeah, you've got to find balance, but if you have a blockage, a lot of times it may not be where you think it is. So you identify or get clarity on where that might be, and you work through that, and that will help expand that overall holistic abundance so that you can find that balance.
So a couple of more examples. For example, relationship with others. So are there relationships in your life which actually don't work anymore for you?
Don't serve you.
Yeah, so do you need to say no to someone? Do you need to find new circles where you want to go? Maybe some of the activities or community things you do, you have to also optimize there. I remember in Hawaii, I started to go into lots of volunteer stuff, and I really love it, and I really love to contribute like that. But it started to eat up so much time. It was not only the time when I was there doing things, but also traveling there, traveling back, and then the whole like half of the day was gone. So I needed to make a change, and which was instead of going 4 times a month, I went just once. So and that worked better with my schedule. So you have to kind of go through like that and then make the changes.
Yep.
Second step is to figure out and find out why. So in our Reinvent Yourself program, we actually are also now guiding you how to do that, and connection to also your life purposes. It's so important. So it's a huge matter to figure out what this is, and there are 7 steps you can take to go deep and like figure out like why you are here, what's like your soul purpose or your spirit's purpose here. But it can be also very simple, like for example, sometimes someone wants to be a better person for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
like, or you start to take care of your health because you want to be there for your grandchildren, or you kind of really think ahead.
Yeah. So your why is connected to you, but in many cases it's connected on to people around you as well. So like the taking care of yourself, your better health. Yes, it is for you, but there are benefits to other people that come from that, because maybe you want to be there to see your kids, grandkids, what have you, graduate from high school, college, get married, what have you, and taking better care of yourself. You stand a much better chance of being there when that time comes. So that's kind of the why.
Mm-hmm. And we also feel that, now think of like one person, just what it means for one person. But as we have been got more clarity about our personal whys, so when you now come together and start to work together, it's much more powerful because both people know what their whys are and why they are doing what they're doing. So it's kind of like amplifying it. So when you work and live in this life and you're connected to your why, it almost feels like you're really sitting in a car and you put the key in the to start the car, and it's actually starting and you're ready, you're turned on in a way. So it's so crucial.
Yep, you're in control.
Yeah. And the third step is have targets and clear destinations where you are going. Like when we take my changes with Facebook stuff, where I want to go with this is also, it was good practice, but I would like to rather now start to build my podcast, and also our podcast for the future, because this is the format and this is the way which is really working and is also really good for whatever we are doing with our business as well. So I have to, of course, take the steps to learn. So the other day I was connecting with a good dear friend in Estonia who has had actually podcast for 2 years, and this is the way you do things nowadays. You connect with someone who already has the experience. I was asking all these questions like what about the mic, what about the tech stuff, which platform you use. I had all those really yummy questions. And by the end of it, he actually just gave away this, as a session for like 1 hour. I asked, like, what can I help you with? And he said, this is really crazy, but I think I could, like, as you asked this, and I know so many are really interested to know the same answers, I could put together an online class. And would you be so kind and send me those questions so I can take it as a baseline or foundation for my course?
Yeah.
It's like, of course, no brainer.
Yeah, that's cooperation.
Yeah. So again, you're also creating a two-way street, and as you are clear, you take those, you make decisions, and you take those actions which help you step by step, and it doesn't happen overnight. Our friend in Estonia has done this podcast for 2 years, has done certain things to market and so on, and it's getting more and more popular. But he also has, his target in mind to become one of the best ones in Estonia. So it's very, very important. And as we also are sailors, so destinations are very important. So if you go to the boat and don't put in any destination, what happens?
You end up wherever you end up.
Yeah, and maybe you just stay in the harbor.
Yeah.
But boats are made for
sailing.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
getting out there and just getting out and experiencing.
Yeah. And so talking about targets and destinations, so let's take also your sailing example. So like if you start to sail from let's say from Panama, starting to sail back to California, you just didn't say like, okay, now I go all the way straight. Like, what other smaller things you did to really make it work?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's called tacking. So when you're going, you have to move in different directions sometimes to make your headway forward. So that's one thing. Course correction or adjusting is another thing. You may be what you think is on the perfect path, and then there's an obstacle, and obviously an obstacle in a sailboat's not a good thing. You want to avoid that. So it's okay to adjust. And same with any goal or anything that you set. So tack back and forth, adjust as needed, and then steps. And it's really important because going up that long a run in a single run, that's a longer term goal. In order to get to that longer term goal, we set shorter term goals. We knew kind of where we needed to stop and take a break, get fuel, get provisions, get a little extra sleep, because when you're on the water that long, you don't sleep very well because you have to always be on. So these,
and also weather forecast.
Weather
Super
forecast,
important.
yeah, you have to pay attention to what's going on around you, including weather. So it all plays a factor in, and it's pretty much the same thing that we're talking about here.
Yeah, and with weather forecast in life, it's kind of the same thing. It's like observing what's going on. Like if I'm choosing this and heading that way, is that the right time right now? Is this like what the people need or whatever you need? So it's really, really cool.
Yep, and if you need to, course correct.
Yes. And the fourth step, the use of your time and money. It's such a crucial, important thing. So going back to the Facebook Live example again, it took me so much time to do it also Facebook Live that way. And I understood I have to do those changes so that I can pre-record, for example, like a month's worth of videos, and then upload them, put them even like in an automatic system, which will free out so much extra time, which then I can use for other projects and other targets which I have in my plans.
So it seems a little selfish, but it's actually the furthest thing from being selfish, because not only is it better for Crystal because now she can plan her life better and she can do the more things, but those things are serving other people and taking care of herself and of course taking care of us. So by making that adjustment, it's not being selfish. It's actually being able to be more for more people because she did this. And she doesn't regret or have any ill will in the way she did it, but she did it and she realized that she needed to make that course correction or adjustment to not only do it better, but to serve others better as well.
Yeah. And so the use of your money is the same thing. One of the things I think people are now also doing is re-evaluating how they use money. Like, it may be certain small things which are connected to your use of time as well, whether it's a subscription you don't use anymore or whatever way they are connected to your overall why or overall things, and sometimes they are completely disconnected. So this is the time to get that clarity. Wow, I don't need this anymore. Take just like one subscription, which is like $10-14 a month. It turns into quite a bit of money by the end of the year.
Yep. And on the flip side, if there is something that's of value, basically what you've done, instead of having like two subscriptions, one not used or partially used and then the other one you'd like to use more, now you've actually been able to focus and do more on one. And it can also come with paying bills instead of sitting down. I know a lot of people don't write checks anymore, but even to go online and pay a bill, if it's an ongoing normal bill and you set it up to do automatic bill payment, that's 10-15 minutes per bill that you can eliminate as well, which gives you more time to do other things. So there's a lot to it.
Yeah. So every little thing adds on top of the other. So if you take those, like even that 10 minutes maybe per week or whatever you use, you multiply that 4 times and then all the months of the year, it adds up quite a lot of time.
Yep.
So it's really good to reevaluate, go over like what needs to change and make those changes. And as you optimize your life, what do you think is the number one thing what happens?
You end up with more holistic abundance.
Yeah, and also you will be happier and more fulfilled. I remember now one of my first Facebook Lives, which I did now in that membership group. Wow, this was so different. Like the presence of people, the way they appreciated me, And I felt also so like accepted, acknowledged, and the energy was like, it was like amplified. It was like completely new me. And sometimes it's not easy, it's hard to make those changes, because 2 years, it's a habit already, you get used to certain ways, and you have to really like focus and make those changes happen.
Yep.
Because you deserve it, and the people around you deserve it too, because it's better for them too.
Absolutely.
So that's all for today. In the coming days and weeks, we will have some really cool stuff coming up. So stay tuned on our Infinite Activation social media channels, and use those opportunities, because now we activate some new stuff which will be active for a certain limited time.
Yep.
So you can check it out. So thank you so much for your support. We want to especially one more time thank everyone who came to Positive Infusion webinar, and also joined our Reinvent Yourself program. That was amazing.
Yeah. Best wishes to you.
Yeah. So stay healthy, stay cool, and may Aloha always be with you.
Yeah. Mahalo.
Mahalo.